we are going to dive into what money is, what we are making money mean in our lives, and the limiting beliefs that we place around money and ourselves with relationship to money. First things first, we always want to come back to and center ourselves around money is. Money just is. There's no good or bad. There's no ways of being that money is. It just is. And so the more we can come back and sit with that and create awareness for ourselves around what we're making money mean other than it just is, allows us to see new possibilities with it. So it goes back into, are we fighting for our limiting beliefs, or are we fighting for our possibilities and what we see as possible with money? Now, there's really a few different places that we do this collectively in life, and for some it runs stronger in certain areas than others. So I'm going to speak into all of them and maybe bring up some examples that I can think of along the way. So personal, family, religious, economy, and the collective. Those are kind of the few different elements of how this could look. Personally, the limitations could be around, I don't have the knowledge or skills or talents that I need to create the money I want to create. I just don't have it within me. Maybe there's some truth to that from a standpoint of, you do have to have certain knowledge and skills to do certain things, but we all have gifts. So we also get to share our unique value that we provide to the world. And so we want to start there. And so the reframe for that is to get curious, to learn, to grow, to not be attached to the perfection around it. And in the process of learning and growing, be also sharing that unique value, because as we collect tools in our toolbox, we are enabling ourselves to give and share more value because we are creating more tools in our toolbox to partner with our unique gifts. So when we look at it from like this objectification of it, of okay, these are my objectively strong gifts that I have available to me already, and these are my tools in my toolbox. Putting them together creates magic. It creates this experience for someone. It allows me to share very powerfully resources that someone else might need to get plugged into because they are struggling in a certain area or just wish to have more around that topic. The next one is family. So a lot of limiting beliefs around family look like, well, we grew up poor and we never talked about money in our household. My parents never brought it up, or my parents talked about it all the time. It was all we ever talked about, so now I never want to talk about it, right? So on either side, there is a distinction of either we talked about it too much or we never talked about it, and so now there's an opposite effect happening where you want to do the opposite because you already experienced one side of the polarization. So bring it back to the center around not making money mean something. Money simply is. From a religious standpoint, there's a lot of religions that, kind of speak into, and not specifically, but people with money are bad or greedy, or if you're not giving of your wealth, then it means something about that person. So sometimes that can be developed at a very young age in our psyche. And so subconsciously, even though we don't feel that way consciously, it's still deep within. So we just want to recognize and create awareness if and when it does come up, maybe when we see or meet a wealthy person and they don't want to work with us, or whatever we're making it mean around that limitation. So create awareness around it. Economically, this one is actually really interesting. My brother and others in my family struggle with this. They'll blame the economy, they'll blame capitalism, they'll blame society and the way society operates for their lack or their scarcity. And so I want to speak into that factor of, it's not capitalism that's bad. It's actually not the economy that's bad. It's we are not interacting in a way that fulfills us. And so we don't want to make ourselves bad, right? Like our ego is here to protect us. And instead, we're not stepping into our full power or our full worth around what we can create and cause on the world around us and serve in a bigger capacity. We're playing small. We're placing blame. So when we're doing that, and fill in whatever thoughts come up, I'm just thinking through what others in my family specifically say about the economy or capitalism or the disdain for how things are ran. It's really a reality that they're creating for themselves, that maybe you're creating for yourself. So it's a powerful one because you can't control what your perceived interaction is with that, right? It is bigger than you. So even unlike the personal and family ones, which can get debunked and deconditioned pretty easily, the economy one is kind of this out there-ness philosophy, and there's a difference in that philosophy. So ultimately we want to shift our reality into you have complete control. You are just not taking radical ownership, which is kind of okay, yes. And you get to step into this radical responsibility with creating your own economy to support you how you want to serve and however you want that to look. So you get to write your own rules, which is pretty magical and empowering and playing in this possibility if you choose to accept that radical responsibility. So that one I think is really powerful when someone steps into that radical responsibility and owns that, yeah, I'm going to be someone that charges crazy prices for what I do because of these unique gifts. And then the moment you allow that to be an option, the right human comes into your world to pay those prices. Or maybe you decide that you're going to have an experience and create an experience with a community and create pricing structures that really resonate for you in a group capacity where everyone gets to join because it's such a low price, and you get to expand into your impact because now you need 20, 40 people to create the pricing structure that works for you to get paid. It gets to be balanced, and the more that you give, the more that you share, the more you can expect to receive back tenfold. So don't limit yourself in that exchange. The world around you wants to give back to you. The universe is looking to give back to you. Are you allowing yourself to receive in return for that? And then the last one here is really the collective, which I think is kind of, even for myself, the last one I'm really working to debunk and unravel and decondition is this concept of, if I break the rules that are these perceived rules of how making money works, then I'm going to be an outcast or kicked out of the tribe of life and all these things that are ridiculous. And I feel them, they're very real, that the rule I'm breaking when I step into business, when I do things differently, when I break the rules of money being hard to make and it has to be a grind and a hustle and all these things. I mean, that runs consistent regardless if you're in corporate life or in entrepreneurial life or business life, doesn't matter. All themes collectively remain the same, that it has to be hard to make money and it has to be a grind, it has to be a hustle. So for me, that is one I'm still working through and being in practice of consistently every day, not falling into that and really making it super easy to make money. And so as I learn more about this, the more excited I get to teach you more about it.